When I think about the influence of an individual, I think all the way back to that encounter that I had with Mrs. Lee, the substitute teacher. I grew up in a small town in southern Illinois. I did not have the privilege of growing up in a Christian family. I wish perhaps things had been different, but I also recognize the fact that had I grown up in a different environment, I would not be the person that I am today. And I believe that God can use any situation or circumstance to bring good from it. And He certainly did that for me and my family. We didn't have a lot of money. My dad worked seasonal construction, which meant during most winter months he was unemployed. My mom was a school bus driver. So resources in my family with 6 kids, mom and dad, were very limited. And although my father worked hard, I think, Monday through Friday, from Friday evening through Saturday evening, he spent most of those hours at a local bar. I remember many a night driving around town with my mom looking for his vehicle so that we could take the keys. I knew that my mom and dad loved us, and when alcohol was not influencing him, he was a good dad. We just knew that when weekends rolled around, there was going to be a lot of turmoil. My grandmother just lived about 4 blocks away from where I grew up and was a charter member of the Nazarene Church. She was the worship leader, or the song leader, and that was really the first introduction that I ever had to the Church of the Nazarene. At the age of 54, she passed away behind the pulpit, leading the singing. And as far as I knew, at that point in my life, my church-going days were over. And then one day, I was in 9th grade and walked into a classroom, and there was an individual there by the name of Mrs. Lee. I did not know her. She was new to the area. She was a substitute teacher. And after class, she pulled me aside and asked me why I had not been to the Nazarene Church in a while. She went on to explain that she was the wife of the new pastor at the Nazarene Church. So she invited me back to church that Sunday. And you know, it's difficult to say no to a teacher. And so I agreed to attend church with really no intention of attending. I went back the next Sunday, then 2 and 3, and before long it was a habit in my life. And a few weeks into that, I knelt at an altar in that small church and gave my life to the Lord. The single most influential event that helped develop and grow my faith was the Sunday nights around the kitchen table of the Lees. I can't tell you how many pounds of ham and cheese sandwiches I ate around their kitchen table. They were really helping me form a spiritual foundation that I would build my faith on for the next several decades. During my beginning of my senior year in high school, Pastor Paul Lee talked to me about my need to prepare, and he talked to me about a place called Olivet Nazarene College and made arrangements to bring me to campus and introduce me to this place. And it was during the fall of 1982 that I moved into Chapman Hall, and I enrolled as a freshman, preparing for full-time ministry. In 1999, both of my parents learned within weeks of each other that they both had terminal cancer. Because of the influence of Pastor Lee, because of his longevity, and because of his consistent love and care for my family, he had established a level of influence there that no one else had. And because of that, he was able to lead them into a personal relationship with Christ. I think that Pastor Lee modeled for me what it meant to be a caring, giving, loving individual. And that complemented what I believed was a call from the Lord to full-time ministry. Because of my background, because of the influence of Pastor Lee, that certainly shaped who I became as a leader, as an individual that loves students and loves young people. When I think about the influence of an individual, I think all the way back to that encounter that I had with Mrs. Lee, the substitute teacher. I've often wondered what my life would be like today had she not taken 2 minutes out of her time to greet me and to take the initiative to invite me back to church. And so the legacy and the influence of two individuals has impacted not only my life, but the life of my family, my wife, my son, and I believe his children someday will be impacted because two people in a small church loved me, cared for me, and invested in me.